Hi, I'm Peter Greenhouse.
Hi, I'm Alison Richardson. We're here at Nielsen's Advanced Sailing Centre in Martmanor, where we're going to unlock some of the secrets of asymmetric sailing.
The aim of this video is to demonstrate some boat handling techniques that we feel will help the club sailor master high-performance sailboats.
Practice makes perfect, but it's important to make sure you're rehearsing the correct techniques. We're going to take you right in on the action, demonstrating best practice for boat handling manoeuvres. Close-up on-the-water footage, shore-based demonstrations and instructive commentary help make this the ultimate self-coaching tool. Practice drills can be seen in virtually every sport, but rarely they apply to sailing. Shore drills give you the platform to rehearse new techniques before introducing variables like wind and waves. Before looking at boat handling, we need to highlight the correct trapezing position. It's essential we start from a solid platform with correct posture, not only helping balance, but also enhancing our righting moment. That's enough talk, let's get down to business. Off you go, Peter.
Trapezing normally, flat on my feet here, and then in order to get more leverage, come out onto the balls, and then to see up the race course, I just twist my front foot and twist my shoulders, and I can see the race course.
Trapezing on your toes can give you an extra inch in height. By angling the front foot and twisting his hips, Peter demonstrates the ideal stance. He can then drop his shoulders back to improve leverage, twisting the torso to get a better view of the racecourse. Fundamentally, tacking is about having a consistent routine that forms the basis of all your tacks. With enough practice, this routine becomes so instinctive, you'll no longer have to think about where to put your hands or feet during the manoeuvre. Back on the shore, and we've added elastic to give a more realistic feel to the rudder.
So flat out, going upwind and a lot of breeze. Firstly, hoist, ready for going in for the tack. Ease the main sheet, couple of inches just to take the power out of it, so when you turn up into the wind, then you come in, main sheet, hand onto the trapeze wire, turning in, re-grab the main sheet, cross over, clip on, swap hands again, and out you go. Then lower yourself.
So let's see that again. Alison puts the main sheet in his backhand before raising himself on the wire and moving into the boat. Taking the tiller behind, he then re-grabs the main sheet and moves out onto the rack, clip on and onto the wire. In slow motion we can see the re-grab and the way that he takes the tiller behind his back before passing the main sheet onto the tiller hand. The front hand then grabs the handle, clips on, moves out.
Okay, I listen to a call for attack. Helm says go. Hand up to the handle, other hand onto the loop, making sure it's free of my harness. In across, I'm eyeballing my jib sheet and my jib cleat. Collect my jib sheet, collect my trapeze handle. As I've come out, I've looked up, eyeballed it, got it in my hand, transfer my weight, out I go, sliding my hand down the jib sheet, out on my locked out arm, clip on.
In slow motion, we can see how few steps Peter takes through the boat. Placing his front foot in first, he then takes a big step across the boat, picking the jib sheet up on the way through. The back foot then goes on the gunnel before stepping out onto the wing with the new front foot. He can then go out on the handle, clip on and settle down on the new tack. With the crew on the main sheet, the tack becomes much simpler for the helm. This leaves him free to go out on the handle, and in this case, even clip himself on. Back on the beach, watch Alison's backhand. it stays in contact with the tiller extension all the way through the tack, so he's in control of the rudder. Watching the whole sequence on the water, we can see Alistair throw the jib sheet into the boat before going for the handle and lifting his hips to unclip. He then moves through the boat with 2 big steps before pausing on the windward wing, changing hands and going out on the handle. He then flips the tiller extension up towards the hook, clipping on and settling down on the new tack. So here we see the technique at full speed, but you don't have to use your tiller hand to clip on. On the second tack, watch Alistair. Here we see him come through the boat, grab the ring, clip on from the ring and then move out. If you've got the time, clip on.
Right, going upwind, coming up for a tack, just make sure the main sheet's clear of my feet. Main sheet goes into my backhand. I've been playing the main sheet under the trapeze elastic so it's all clear. And then I bring my front hand up to the trapeze handle, ease the main sheet out slightly as I go in, all the way across, big steps to the new wing, change my hands on the main sheet as I've arrived right next to my trapeze handle, grab the trapeze handle, straight out, clip on, while pulling the main sheet in as well, and then into the upwind trim.
With virtually no preparation time, Peter slides his backhand down the main sheet so he can sheet on as he moves into the boat. He then crosses sides and pauses on the new rack to change hands and move out on the wire. With a locked out arm, he's able to make full use of his weight, and then he brings a clip to his hook rather than the other way around. To finish the tack off, Peter throws the tail of the main sheet out to Alistair so he can work his way down to the jib sheet on the other end. Practice makes perfect, so get yourself on the shore drill and rehearse the whole tack as many times as it takes to make the whole process as natural as possible. The distances on the boat remain the same, so you should be able to do it with your eyes closed. An alternative for changing hands on the windward wing is to change hands in the middle of the boat. Over the next 2 tacks, we can see Peter moving into the boat and swapping hands under the boom. He's then able to move straight out on the handle, following his front hand. Let's look at that again in slow motion. Peter moves into the boat, pauses under the boom, swaps hands directly under the boom and leads himself out with his front hand before clipping on and settling on the new tack. The principles of jibing are speed, balance and steering, SBS. These can be applied to any boat, but trapezing often forms a distraction, especially for the helm. In the classroom, let's highlight the fundamentals. Firstly, balance. A small amount of windward heel will assist the steering into the jibe. A flat boat is also acceptable, but leeward heel will work against the turn, requiring more rudder. Similarly, too much windward heel will increase the rate of turn into the jibe, and that will need to be corrected with the rudder to stop oversteering. Prep time should be kept to a minimum. Time spent raising adjusters and moving forward in the boat loads up the sails as the boat slows down. Smooth steering is essential. The entry is critical as this sets up the whole manoeuvre. Get it right and you should start with minimal steering with the rudder following the boat rather than the other way around. That's starting to sound complicated. I wish there was a better way of explaining it.
Genie here, how can I help?
Genie, how does balance affect steering?
I can explain that by using the analogy of the outboard motor. By moving the outboard to the left of the centre line, the boat will want to turn to the right. By moving the outboard to the right, we will make it turn to the left. Drop a rig into the boat, and the same theory applies. The outboard now represents the centre of effort in the sails. As the boat heels, the CFE moves across the centre line, shifting our outboard from one side to the other. Now let's make this work for us on the racecourse. By setting up for the jibe with windward heel, we're using the outboard to help steer us into the turn, requiring less rudder. This helps us to control the entry without using the handbrake.
Ah, that's good.
With leeward heel, the rudder and engine are working against each other, putting the brakes on and loading up the rig.
Now that's bad.
When the boat finally starts to turn, the extra rudder kicks in and causes the boat to oversteer through the jibe.
That's going to get ugly.
This is a classic example of how the entry affects the exit.
Thanks, Jeannie. You're an inspiration.
Going for a jibe, just hang on a minute. We're just going to get the right bit of chop. Select my wave. And here we go, are you ready? Let's go.
Going.
Keep it flat, through the boat, big steps, out, clip on, power. Straight into the tow loop.
Power on, up.
Let's go in this nice bit of breeze.
Ready when you're
Ready?
up.
Let's go.
Sliding my hand down the old kite sheet, onto the new one, full chat round. Eyeball my handle, straight out.
Foot in tow
Kite
loop.
set,
And out we go.
onto the wire, back into my foot strap, and off.
Got to make sure as the helmsman you keep the main in actually for this. Now there's a bit more wind now. You hear the boat start to sing.
Right, ready when
Peter?
you're up, yeah.
After this chop here.
Back foot's out the foot strap now.
You ready? Let's go.
Okay, going.
Grab the main halfway through, transfer it into the backhand. Out we go.
Beautiful
then change
jibe.
over into the tow loop.
Shuffling back into my tow loop.
Clocker rocking. Right.
Okay, going in here.
Let's go
Back
for
foot
it.
out, foot strap. Front hand up the handle. Sliding hand down old sheet. Onto new sheet, full chat. Eyeball the handle. Out, easing kite sheet. Collecting hook. Hooking on. Easing kite sheet a bit more. Back foot in foot strap. Leaning out. There we go. Hammer down.
Go in for the jibe. Main sheet's in the cleat. Big step in, steering into it. Re-grab the main sheet and sheet on through it just to bring the boom across. Swap over the hands again. Then you clip on and bring your arm out to the side to take the slack out. And then just swing out, keeping your arm out to the side and then out.
Watch Alistair's right hand as he goes through the manoeuvre. He first jibes the tiller, then clips on, before pulling the slack out of the system so he can exit the jibe with confidence. Here Alistair demonstrates two techniques for clipping on out on the wire. Firstly, he goes out on the handle and clips himself on by lifting his hips. In slow motion, we can see Alistair bring his hook up to meet the trapeze ring before dropping his hips and then changing over, putting the main sheet in the front hand, settling on the jibe. An alternative would be to make maximum use of your weight on the exit of the jibe. Here we see Alistair adopt a really strong body position, waiting for Peter to finish jibing the kite and then allowing him to clip him on.
You have to have elastic running across the back of the 49er. Basically, the reason for this is so that your tillers never get caught under the back quarter of the wing. If you don't have this, you can get in all sorts of trouble through jibing and tacking manoeuvres. So it's essential, basically, to have this elastic as tight as possible across your wings.
Okay, we're at the 29er here, and this is the shroud plate, and it'd be nice just to cover this up and make it all neat like we do on the 49er, and I'll give you an example of that in a second. Also, the spinnaker sheet ratchet hasn't actually got a spring on or anything, and it's essential when you're going into a jibe that the spinnaker sheet ratchet is in the exact place that you need it, so you can just grab the new sheet and go. If we go over to the 49er, we'll have a look. Here's the shroud plate cover. It's just a mountain bike inner tube, just 6-inch piece, and it just slots down over, and then it's literally the shroud plate's foul free. And then here's the ratchet block. It's just sat on a spring, and it's literally there every time. So when you're going into a jibe, you know the ratchet block's going to be facing the right way and sat, and it's just got that little bit of clearance off the deck so you can get your hand onto the spinnaker sheet. Coming up for a jibe, helmsman's just giving me the cool go. I slide my back hand down the kite sheet, front hand goes up to the trapeze handle. I can clamp it under my thumb on the trapeze handle while sliding my other hand down the kite sheet. I've eyeballed up my new spinnaker sheet at the ratchet, and I've taken it from there. Go good 3 armfuls, get the kite 3/4 round, and then start travelling across the boat with the last little bit, pulling the kite sheet on, climbing out, clipping on, kite's just popping, and now I'm just easing it out, setting it for the downwind position.
An alternative jibe is the blow through. Watch Peter as he moves into the boat, crossing right up onto the high side and backing the kite before letting go of the old sheet and pulling the sail through. This technique is great for windy weather, as it means the crew can strap the kite down and stop it from filling until the helm's settled on the wire. Safety first, boys. Keeping your sheets tangle free is important, but when knots do occur, try to sort them without disturbing boat speed too much. Here Peter eyeballs the knot just by the shroud and tries to flick it clear. When that doesn't work, he passes a sheet to Alistair so he can trim the kite, keeping speed on until it's sorted.
Okay, sailing downwind in the 29er, it's very important to pre-jibe the tiller because it'll get in the way of the crew when jibing. This is how it's done. Also, when sailing downwind in the 29er, it's essential that you also stand up as you go into the jibe. Stand up with the back foot, putting pressure on it as you go through the jibe, keep standing, twist, and sit back down.
Running through those points on the water, we can see Alistair pre-jibe the tiller, stand up, put pressure on his back foot, twist, and sit down on the new side. It's important to keep control of the main sheet going into the jibe. Have it ease too much and the boom will hang on the old side before coming across. It might be okay in 12 knots, but in 25, you're going to capsize. With more main sheet going into the jibe, Alistair has to steer less before the boom comes across. Also notice that because Peter hasn't taken enough sheet on, as he goes out on the handle, Alistair needs to take the sheet off him, allowing Peter to clip on. Once settled, they can swap back over again and arc it up.
Okay, we're going to go for some just two sail jibes. It's always
More breeze coming on there.
okay. It's always important to be in the toe straps when you're in this much wind, when two sail reaching, just in case the nose
Nice
decides
breeze.
to dig itself in. Also, when you're going for these two sail jibes, the helmsman, you've really got to keep the pace on. If the boat starts slowing up, it'll make the jibe really difficult. Here we go, got more
Okay,
wind here.
ready when you are.
Yeah, you ready?
Yeah.
Right, let's go. Keep the boat flat as you
Easing
go
main
through.
into it, and then I pull the boom
Pull the
across
boom
my front
across.
hand,
Weight
change main
transfer.
sheet, and out on the wire. Breeze building.
Back into the toe strap. Breeze
More breeze
in a
coming
minute.
on.
I'm in your toe strap. You can have it back.
Thank you very much.
There we go.
It's going to increase more.
Let's go for a.
Ready when you are. There
Okay,
you go,
let's
more breeze.
Keep the pace on.
Here goes.
Keep the boat flat, across before the boom goes as a helmsman, and then up and out.
Really important for the crew to just yank the boom across when it just goes light. You can't afford to have it teetering around on the leeward side. Right, this is the 49er boat breaker. It just clips onto the forestay and you just pull her on. And this system, it's got a little 6-to-1, so it's quite easy to pull on. And you just guide the thing in. I think I'm on target there. There we go. And then you can literally just free it off, take her off and she's clear. Split pin on, and all is well. And on this, we also just tie the jib cunningham just through here, but we've drilled out the hole and made it really smooth so the string doesn't fray. And then we secure the jib cunningham just through this hole. And on these new Neil Pride sails, which everyone uses now, we always secure it just in line with the ferrule, top of the ferrule. It's a good base point to work from. And just tie her off there. And then you're in the middle clue hole on the jib. And you can't really go wrong, to be honest.
It's important to get the rig settings in the right ballpark. and your class association will help with some basic numbers. Here we've used a spring gauge to measure cap and shroud tension. Consistency is important, so always measure from shoulder height. It's a good idea to take the forestay tension to complete the picture. This is also a good indicator for the amount of forestay sag you can expect. Lower bend can be measured by taking the jib halyard from the bottom spreader down the front of the mast so it touches the point of maximum bend. Place a ruler at gooseneck height, then record the distance between the back of the halyard and the front of the mast. To know the basics of how the rig works, we don't need to be in Spain, it's a walk in the park. Harnessing the power of the rig is about minimising twist, and the fully buttoned mainsail with roach can be held almost twist free with the right amount of leech tension. First of all, let's have a look at the effect of the main sheet. This gives us the leech tension we're after, but without affecting the overall shape of the mainsail. As we can see, as I pull the main sheet on, we're tensioning the leech of the main, but the shape itself isn't affected. Our second option is the kicking strap, but this has another effect of bending the mast. As I pull kicker on, not only am I getting the leech tension I desire, but I'm also flattening the main. So we've got two options to use, each giving us the leech tension we're after. The skill comes from knowing which control to use and when. Having mentioned that harnessing power was about controlling twist, we're going to use the main sheet as our primary control. This comes on all the time we're searching for more power, but as soon as we're overpowered and we have to ease the main to keep the boat balanced, we're going to have to get our leech tension from another control, and that's where the kicker comes in. So to get a better appreciation of what the kicker does, as I pull the tension on, we can see the boom being forced into the bottom section of the mast, flattening off the middle of the main. From a different angle, we can see the sail changing shape and getting flatter as I put more kicker on. Our best indication for this is some starvation creases appearing from the bottom spreader. The 29er demonstrates this brilliantly because without lowers, too much kicker overbends the mast, giving us the diagonal creases we see here. Easing the kicker straightens the mast and the sail becomes deeper. The Cunningham's one of the most misunderstood sail controls. The common perception is that it just pulls the fullness out of the front of the sail, but in reality it's putting compression on the mast, bending the tip and then opening up the leech of the sail. As I pull tension on, we can see the mast bending aft and the sail opening up. This gives us the twist that we're after to depower the mainsail. As I let the tension off, the tip of the mast straightens and the leech returns back up again, giving us power and height on the racecourse. This highlights how important it is to have the Cunningham off when we're trying to power up. Our final sail controls are the outhaul. This looks after the depth and the bottom third of the mainsail. It's a great way of getting rid of the starvation creases we saw earlier caused by over-kickering. Just through easing the outhaul an inch, it's often enough to drop out those creases. And also, by putting more depth in the bottom of the sail, we can give more return into the bottom third of the leech. The leech of the jib is just as important as on the mainsail, and our key controls here are the clew board position and the sheet tension. The clew board will control how much you pull on the leech of the jib with any given sheet tension. The higher up you go, the harder the leech, the lower, the more twisted. Having changed the top hole, we can see the sheeting angle changes so that now we're pulling down more on the leech. The actual point has also moved forward, so we've induced more depth into the sail as well. If we were to switch to the bottom clew hole, this would have a similar effect, although the jib would then be flatter and more twisted. Another way of adjusting sheeting angle is with the jib tack height. Moving up on the jib tack is the same as moving up on the clew board, but it's a much more precise and accurate way of making the adjustment. Another important sail control is the jib track position. This allows you to sheet the jib more outboard without affecting the leech profile. In general terms, the windier it gets, the further out you're going to have to sheet the jib. This is to take into account the fact that the main's going to be off the centre line. Our final sail control is the jib halyard. This is pretty much self-adjusting, so it's pretty easy to set up. The more breeze you have, the more tension you're going to have to pull on to pull the scallops out of the sail. So, windier it is, the more tension you pull on, lighter it is, the less you'll need. You might find in light winds you want to sail with a bit of sag just to make it easier to helm to. Upwind speed's about three things: boat balance, fore and aft trim and sail trim. Flat is fast, and the more precise you can be in terms of heel, the better the boat will feel. Here the 800 is being sailed perfectly upright, using a combination of accurate steering and main sheet trim. As the gust hits, the helm luffs and eases the main, but working the two together reduces the amount of sheet and rudder required. The close-up gives us a better idea of what's going on. Uncleating the main before the gust is another good tip. From side on, we can see helm and crew have moved back to a mid-rack position. When planing, the aim is to get the boat through the swell, with the knuckle of the bow just kissing the water. This position is by no means fixed, and moving backwards and forwards for changes in sea state will help optimise boat speed. Feel is again the best indicator, and subtle changes in trim can make a noticeable difference to pitching. This is helped by keeping crew weight together, which also reduces windage. In light winds, the focus shifts to waterline length, and this is maximised by getting forward on the rack, digging the bow end, and tricking the water into thinking the boat is longer than it actually is. Balance remains important, and with a little bit of leeward heel, the feel on the rudder's improved. It also gives us a touch of weather helm, which is just what we're looking for in these conditions. The distance between the leeward wing and the water, shown by the arrow, is a great indicator for boat balance. It's important that helm and crew continually talk about whether the boat is flat, and it's better for both to react together to a gust or lull rather than separately. There's a time and a place for windward heel, and this is definitely not it. With the rig over on top of the guys, it gives them little time to react to a lull. It also means the bow's constantly being pulled away, and when you're trying to search for height in these conditions, that's not a good thing. Right then, the breeze is back on, and we've got some short chop to deal with. Firstly, trim the knuckle of the bow so it just kisses the average wave, moving way aft for the larger waves to stop green water going into the chute. From astern, we get a better idea of the amount of steering the helm is using for this wavelength. Watch the tiller being moved in a sharp, stabbing movement, luffing the bow up the face of the wave and then pulling it away as it reaches a crest. It's important to trim the main to keep the boat absolutely flat, but the further the main moves off the centre line, the more powered up the jib becomes, moving the centre of effort forward and making it harder for the helm to stab up in the gusts. It's for this reason that somebody needs to have the jib sheet in their hand in gusty conditions. Here Alistair picks up the jib and flicks the sheet off, but you'd be amazed just how little you have to ease to have the desired effect. At spreader height, we can see just how much the jib blade's open. Ideally, we only need to be easing an inch outside the spreader in the gusts. With Alistair and Peter working the sheets together, the boat remains in balance. Nice job, guys.
Right, we're on the 29er here, just on the jib sheet system. And as standard, it comes up with this 3-to-1 system. Ties off on the becket there, goes up through this pulley here and secures, goes through this pulley here and back to the cleats. Unfortunately, this is asymmetric. I'll just give a quick example. But if I tape off a little mark on the jib sheet here, right, we can see that mark there on this side. As I move it across, that mark's now been sucked into that block, so it's tensioned the jib sheet probably, well, best part of an inch and a bit, which is obviously no good, because obviously it means you spend your whole time adjusting the jib sheet. So what we recommend is you remove this system here, reduce this purchase, and just secure the jib sheet to the point up here. You can actually take this block off if you want, and just tie it off to the fitting there. And this will then subsequently get my black mark out. Then when we go from side to side, there's the black mark. Then all the way across, exactly the same. So it's symmetrical. So that's the best thing to do on the jib sheet system.
Further up the course, we can see the sea state has flattened off. All too often we see helms using the rudder just for the sake of it, but remember it's basically a handbrake, so keep movements precise and to a minimum. With the main cranked in on the centreline, it's important to adjust your weight to keep the boat flat. Peter's constantly playing his adjuster, making the most of his weight for the conditions, bringing himself up in the lulls and dropping down to the knots in the gust. You should always look to get yourself as low as possible on the wire to make the most of your leverage. Once flat wiring, you can think about depowering, but never before. Always looking to power up and get the maximum out of the rig until your weights drop to the knots.
Right, this is my trapeze setup. I have a standard adjuster rope, which is obviously the 2-to-1. Always set up a little handle, 2 little stopper knots. The rope's 5mm and it's 1.6 meters long. And then I have an adjustable splice, which is actually at the moment set right off to near its max let off. And then so for light winds, I can pull myself up and have a slightly high wiring system. This basically avoids having a massive trapeze adjuster rope, which obviously can create tangles, can get involved in the spinnaker sheet, and it just keeps it neat and tidy. And it also means in the real light stuff you can really high wire, and then vice versa. When it's really windy, I can adjust myself right down, like right down to the maximum there, and I can really get the trapeze loop good and low.
Once maxed out, it's back to playing the main sheet to maintain the correct trim. Check out how little main is eased once in sync with the tiller movements, and our best gauge for this is the distance between the main sheet blocks on the back of the boom. If they're not together, then we're going to be searching for more power, and in that case you need to swing off the main.
Initially, when we first started sailing the 49er, we used to have adjustable strops. But recently, what we've been doing to get the main on the centre line is we've been having a split main sheet system, which basically, instead of attaching to the block here, it now splits out of this last block and then separates and attaches to the ends of the wings where the old existing main sheet strops used to be.
Once the main's off the centre line, it's back on the vang, and this sequence shows its effect on the mast-sail relationship. The starvation creases shown here are a graphic demonstration of how much flatter the sail becomes. As the kickers ease, you can see the fullness going back into the bottom third of the sail, dropping those starvation creases out. However, from astern, we can see the mainsail now has masses of twist, which means lots of drag and no height on the racecourse. Bringing the vang back on again, and we get the kind of leach profile we're looking for. But the lessons learned are when powering up, we should look to use the main sheet, only bringing the vang on when we become overpowered. Once the main is more than 6 inches off the centre line, or if the windward shroud goes loose, then it's time for a rig change.
Okay, Peter, shrouds are too loose. We're gonna have to go for a rig change.
All right, I'll go in and do it. You take the main.
Got it. I'll stay on the wire for
Right, for this rig
maneuver.
change, I keep the kicker on and the Cunningham on, because it helps induce some slack into the lured shroud. This 5-to-1 purchase system, which we call the on-the-water boat breaker, into my lower plate, just clips in with a fast pin, lift up my cover, then I put it on my lured trapeze wire. Pull the tension, and
There you go
just
for it.
give it some salad, and then I've got some slack in my shroud, and I can move it down half a hole, which is what I'm gonna do. So down it goes, and then I'm gonna move my cap down half a hole as well, and then I release the tension, and job done.
Just got to do the other side now, Peter. Ready for attack?
Yeah, ready?
Right, let's go.
Say when.
Yeah, under control. Go on, go for it.
Right, I'm just clipping in the boat breaker again into the other side that I haven't done yet. Clip it onto the trapeze wire, take the slack,
I'm trying to keep
and
the
then
boat
just
in control.
heave on the rig tension. If my helmsman during this whole process suddenly hits a big gust, he will call my weight and I can
Wait,
just
wait,
leave it
wait.
all. There we go, classic
That's it.
example. Not a problem though. And I go back to what I'm doing. None of it can fall overboard, it's all safe. Moved the shroud down half a hole now I have. Now moving the cap down half a hole. Cap's located. All made safe, free off all this. Remove the boat breaker. Pull the cover back over the shroud. Ready to go sailing again on the new setting.
No one enjoys sailing in 3 knots of breeze, but sometimes that's exactly what we have to do. The trouble with these boats is that the wide planing area around the transom can become a real hindrance. Just look at all that drag. That can be removed by moving the crew weight as far forward as possible. This changes the wetted area of the hull and lifts the transom clear of the water. Changing crew positions in light airs is about being deliberate and subtle. Peter moves forward along the centre line so as not to affect the boat balance. And then Alistair will add a small amount of leeward heel as he moves forward in the boat. This allows him to rock the boat flat as he takes up his new position and get some extra speed out of the manoeuvre. Going back to our transom, we can see all that drag has now been removed, shown by a clear stream of water behind the boat. Peter might look miserable up the front of the boat, but it keeps his weight on the centre line and allows the helm to control all the balance. Alistair's on his toes, ready to respond to any change of pressure without disturbing the boat too much. Tacking in less than 6 knots is about using the rudder as little as possible, aiding the turn with just the right amount of body movement to control the heel. Be careful when settling down on the new tack, as any movement here will kill the momentum. Leeward heel will help use our outboard theory to start the turn without the rudder. Alistair then steps behind the main sheet and heels the boat to windward before crossing sides and popping the battens. He can then change hands and move forward in the boat, taking up his new position and sailing on the new tack. As the breeze increases, Peter helps the roll while remaining in front of the mast. The skill comes from knowing how much weight will be required coming out of the tack to bring the boat upright at the correct speed. Moving through the slot, Peter can grab hold of the windward lower and swing off this to bring the boat flat coming out of the tack. He then slides back in to his normal upwind position. Watch Alistair pause on the windward gunwale before moving into the boat. This adds the roll we're after and allows him to cross to the high side and pop the battens. Once settled, he then reaches for the hook and clips on. Watch the amount of rudder used through the tack. It follows the boat rather than the other way around. Remember, slow entry, fast exit. The fact there's no transom weight reinforces the weight was kept forward through the whole manoeuvre. To finish this segment off, let's look at some other light wind manoeuvres. Here Peter moves back through the lowers before grabbing the halyard and going for the hoist. The job for the helm is to sail as low as possible, keeping his weight on the centre line. Once set, the crew can move forward to the bow and, if necessary, grab the downhaul and free it off so it doesn't affect the shape of the kite. Setting up for the jibe, the crew takes hold of the new sheet and gets on his feet. He can then jibe the spinnaker in front of the mast, keeping the weight forward and the transom out of the water. Once set, ease the spinnaker for the new course, and then start feeding information back to the helm about the amount of pressure in the sheet. The signal for the helm that the crew is ready for the jibe is when he's got the new sheet in his hand. Alistair can then steer into the jibe and then hit the handle to pop the battens on the new side. He then moves back into the boat, sailing on the new downwind course. For the drop, the crew hands a sheet to the helm and then bags the kite from in front of the mast. Be sure to take up the slack in the downhaul so the foot is brought clear of the water first of all. Once that's in the chute, the crew can then go for the jib, ready to harden up. Through the whole manoeuvre, there's been virtually no movement, which means no loss in momentum. Bring the sheet on slowly and then take your time to get the right setting. Once that's done, you can think about tightening the sheets up in the boat. Now that's enough of light winds, let's get back to the windy stuff.
We're about to do the two modes of sailing, pointing really high when you're under ley lines and also pinching when you come out of the start line. The other method is to just bring the bow down a degree or two and really get the boat ripping. Firstly, we're going to do pinching. Ready, Peter?
Right, in the pinching thing, I pull myself up on the wire a bit and really concentrate on winding the main in and doing my best to keep the main in on the centre line as much as possible without stalling the boat though. So I'm constantly just giving it little eases, but we're only talking an inch or two, and then just freeing it up, yeah, then squeezing it back on.
As the helmsman, basically what I'm doing, just keeping a little bit of heel on the boat and just sailing with the jib, just with that windward telltale, just skying all the time.
We also have a little bit of leeward heel on the boat the whole time, and we've shuffled our weight forward a fraction just to get a slight more waterline length out the boat.
Get the bow in, really dig in for the height.
Really helps wind the boat up. Just easing off a bit there just to keep the speed a little bit.
As you can see, with this method of sailing in a 49er, it's very slow. But sometimes you have to do it. Right, at the moment we're in the pinching mode, and now we're going to go into the bow down mode. Just bring the bow down a fraction off the breeze, get those telltales streaming. We also go a little bit flatter on the wire, and then bring the boat flat. Peter starts easing the main out the quarter a little bit.
I've lured myself now, and
we move back in the boat a little bit. Just ease the jib to get it going, and then you can squeeze it back on once she's up to speed. There we go, Peter, gust on there.
I'm now playing the main a lot more than I was, just to keep it ripping.
Boat's also going a lot quicker now.
Weight back just a fraction more.
Yeah. Maybe go to lock in, Peter.
No, we're all right.
You sure?
Yeah. I'll go a little bit lower just so I can really swing it. Really just trying to give her as much ease as I dare to keep the boat ripping, but without letting the main flap. Like there, just a little bit too much ease.
As a helmsman, you're basically trying to predict the gusts so that the crew doesn't have to throw the main out too far. So when you see the gust come in, you start steering up into it, and then as soon as the gust is in, you try and pull the bow down a fraction to get the boat going quicker.
And likewise, when I find that we're in the gust, I'm just trying to ease it off a little bit, just so he can counteract for his steering, pulling her away a bit, just so we get up to maximum speed. And then as soon as we are up to maximum speed, I'm looking to squeeze the main back on again. I'm always trying to do that. Every time I think we've lost a bit of speed, I'm looking to ease a bit, get the speed on again, and then wind her back in and bring the height back on.
It's also essential in racing, when we're racing, Peter and me communicate which obviously the mode we're going to be in, whether we're going to have the bow down ripping or we're going to be going for height. Majority of the time when we're coming out the starts, we'll be going for height, and
Yeah,
if I've made a bad ley line call, might be pinching quite hard. Otherwise, when we're free and clear of other boats, we'll generally sail in a speed mode.
Here the same techniques are being put to work in the 800. The key points to focus on are to move the weight forward and up on the wire while hardening up the leeches and inducing some leeward heel. Exaggerating the mode change shows just how much height they can gain, but notice also the loss in power as Peter has to move off the wing and onto the gunnel. The hardest part about sailing downwind is finding the best angle to sail, taking into account speed, distance and apparent wind. There's no substitute for experience, but we're going to use 3 modes: displacement, semi-apparent and full apparent to simplify things. Using crew positions for each mode, we can use weight to dictate the angle sailed. The skill comes from knowing when to make the transition from one mode to another, to take into account apparent wind. But what is this apparent wind anyway?
Harvey, I'm glad you asked that. Let's say that this yellow arrow represents the true wind direction. Bring in the boat and something strange starts to happen. The wind you feel shifts due to the forward motion of the boat. Now let's take this a step further and use the apparent wind to our advantage. Say we're travelling on a broad reach doing 5 knots. By heating the boat up onto a reach, we increase the boat speed to 10 knots. This moves the apparent wind forward due to the extra speed. The boat then has to bear away to remain on the reach. Now, this is where it counts. We've borne away onto the original angle, but we're still sailing at 10 knots. Groovy. In the gusts, we have a similar effect. More pressure, more speed, and lower angle. And of course, more fun.
Pressure is the best indicator for downwind mode when approaching the windward mark. When high wiring, it's unlikely the boat will be planing downwind, so expect to be sailing in a displacement mode. Once on a downwind course, the crew stays on the centre line with the helm wiring off the kick bar. Alistair can then sail an angle that's hot enough to keep his weight on the wire, bearing away on the gusts to keep the boat flat. Peter can then talk through the load in the kite sheet so the helm knows when to heat up and when to soak. As the pressure increases, Peter can move onto the gunwale to help Alistair maintain his position on the kick bar. The aim is still to sail as deep as possible, but the extra breeze means that gains can now be made in boat speed without heating the angle up too much. As we approach the first transition, the helm should be trapezing all the time, with a marked increase of boat speed. The crew then moves out onto the wire, shortening his adjuster so both helm and crew are trapezing as high as possible. From astern, we're able to see that the course sailed doesn't change. This is due to an increase in speed, resulting in apparent wind angle change. Switching too soon will mean you end up sailing a noticeably higher course to get the required power. The second transition requires the helm and crew to drop to their knots and send the boat as high as possible. Maximising boat speed will help make the jump to full apparent mode, but the skill comes from judging the moment to switch. Initially, you'll need to sail a hotter angle, but as speed builds, you should notice a gradual header. The greater the boat speed, the deeper the angle relative to the true wind. In this mode, you'll need to move aft towards the back of the wing to keep the correct trim. To make the most of your weight, keep your back legs as straight as possible. Leaning back simply brings your weight close to the centre line. That's the sequence in its simplest form, but it works both ways, so as speed drops and the angle to the mark increases, be ready to change down to a lower mode.
When sailing high performance boats downwind, you need foot straps. This is so you can drive it hard downwind through the waves and stay secure to the boat. This configuration here, we've got them both as far back as possible and the crew and the helm right next to each other. So therefore the weight is going to be as far back as possible in the boat. Also the material of these is so that if we do have a really big accident, they're more than likely going to snap. They're slightly rubbery and they will just save our feet.
Interlocking and moving in and out the foot straps is a skill in its own right, so why not practice it? Simply unlock and move into the boat and then repeat the process until it's second nature. Having the crew's back leg over the helm's front allows him to bend and move independently. This may be uncomfortable for the helm, but staggering your feet on the gunwale can help. This is what it's all about, ripping downwind in 30 knots, and she's a leaper. In these conditions, it's safety first, with kite trimming becoming the first line of defence from the dreaded nosedive. Bad waves are usually visible from a distance, so plan ahead, and when the bow looks like it's going down, flog the kite, only sheeting back on when danger's past. This panic button will lift the bow and slow the boat. However, it does load the tip of the mast up when you sheet back on, so use the main sheet as a backstay to keep the mast in the boat.
Right, I'm on the starboard lay line, approaching the windward mark, or fast approaching the windward mark. Things I've got to do. Right. Hoist myself up, in I come. Ease the kicker to my set marked place for downwind. Recleat. Ease Cunningham, make sure it goes off as much as possible. Recleat. back out, ease jib sheet slightly, back, possibly interlock with the helmsman depending on how windy it is. Wait for the windward wing to come down and the boat to bear away, easing jib sheet through the whole turn, and then wait up as the boat comes away, stepping in, easing jib sheet a little bit more, recleating jib sheet, making sure it's clear of the spinnaker halyard, and then straight into the hoist, arm over arm, making sure if the boom's in on the centre line that I'm keeping my left arm low so I don't hit the, my elbow on the boom. Collecting spinnaker sheet as soon as it's up to the top, and then climbing back out. Sliding out, clipping on, and then if it's good and breezy, back and interlocking with my helmsman into my foot strap, and then probably lowering myself right down to swing it hard.
The key points for the bear away are to set the boat up for the turn and to ease the required amount of main for the conditions. Here Peter eases a kicker and Cunningham before moving his weight back out for the turn. He then throws the main out, with Alistair taking control as Peter moves in for the hoist. This gives him the perfect platform for a 5-second set. The 29er demonstrates how rolls can be adapted to suit individual boats. In this instance, the helm is able to set the control lines for the bear away, leaving the crew to focus on balance and speed right up to the mark. Pressure will then dictate who takes the main through the turn. In light airs, it's better for the crew to get on the halyard as soon as possible. However, fresh breeze requires more main off, which means the crew's better suited to the role. Here Peter's easing the main sheet until he feels the pressure in the sail drop. He then moves off the wire, holding the sheet out for Alistair to grab. Judging the amount of weight required after the hoist is another skill, and the helm can help by calling the amount of pressure through the hoist. Peter can then judge whether to hit the handle or pause on the gunnel until the pressure builds. Back on the shore, Peter uses the 800 to demonstrate two different positions for hoisting the kite. In light winds, gaining depth is important, so he hoists from the centre line to allow the helm to steer as low as possible. Once the halyard hits the top, he reaches for the sheet and gets his weight forward through the gap in the lowers. For windy conditions, the crew should aim to hoist from the windward side, moving back in the boat depending on sea state. It's a good idea to keep an eye on the bow, so you can move further aft if it looks like it's going down. Be ready to drop everything in big breeze to save the capsize, and with both helm and crew on the wire, you should be able to save almost anything. Setting up for the turn in fresh breeze is about getting our outboard working for us. Always use some windward heel to aid the turn and make the rudder more efficient. If the boat doesn't feel right, then hold on until it does. 2 or 3 boat lengths lost at the mark makes a lot more sense than a trip down the mine.
Kite halyard take-up system, 20mm block that the kite halyard runs through, 4mm piece of elastic, 20mm block on the back securing it. Then it runs the length of the boat, through the bullseye on the centre of the boat, through under the control lines, all the way through up to here onto the halyard pole launch block, and it's just secured there. This basically ensures that when you pull the kite out, the pole goes forward, this block comes back, the required amount of slack is then put into the kite halyard so the downhaul doesn't foul up the spinnaker, and vice versa. When the pole comes back in, the kite halyard just has the required amount of slack taken out of it, so it's neat and tidy in the boat, and it's just taut up the mast.
In order to stop your boom ever breaking, it's essential that you actually put a stopper knot in the main sheet. You put this stopper knot in a place where basically you don't allow the boom to hit any of the shrouds or the caps. If you allow this to happen, what will happen is when you do a big bear away and you have to ease the main a lot, if the boom hits, it'll just buckle and snap straight round the shroud. So it's very important to get these stopper knots in your main sheet. On our boat, you can obviously see that we've got a main sheet and jib sheet system that's a continuous piece of rope. I mean, out of all the time we've been sailing the 49er, we find that this is the best kind of system. We also have an elastic take-up system that's in this main sheet and jib sheet, and this elastic runs through the bullseye in the middle of the boat and to the back edge of the spinnaker pole, which is here. So when the spinnaker is up and flying and we're ripping downwind, the elastic pulls tight and pulls the main sheet and the jib sheet to the centre of the boat and just gives us the required amount of main sheet in my hand so that it doesn't get in the way during jibing.
For the port rounding, get the control line set before the tack, then ease the jib going into the turn. You can drop the windward wing as you come out of the tack to get the boat through the turn before the rig powers up. When the helm's certain he's through the turn, he can take the main off the crew, steering as low as possible until the kite sets. In the 800, the priority changes for the helm to ease the main rather than hit the wire. Coming out of the tack, Alice is easing the main already. Then he adds a few pumps to get him through the mark before Peter moves his way off the wire and into hoist. Downwind ley lines are about being aware of the angle you're sailing on in relation to the next mark. The deeper your angle, the earlier you need to jibe. High angles, late jibe. Try thinking ahead when judging your leeward approach, taking into account the pressure you're sailing into. In gusty conditions, this can make a massive difference to the angle you're sailing in relation to the mark, so look out for dark patches on the water. Here Alistair hits the ley line perfectly, if anything having to heat up slightly for the mark. Coming in under the ley is a great weapon, especially in larger fleets, as you can guarantee boats are going to be coming in low and slow to make the leeward gate. They're there for easy pickings. As Peter moves off the wire, Alistair steers a course to keep the boat absolutely flat. As the boat drops off the plane, he also shifts his weight forward and starts to bring the main on, ready for the leeward mark. When the kite is done, Peter grabs the main, goes out on the handle, and they start to trim the boat for the upwind course. Misjudging the ley line can be a costly business, so make an early call on whether to soak low or to heat up and go for the double jibe. Unless you're virtually on the ley line, it's always best to keep the speed on. And Peter and Alistair show here how with the right technique, you lose very little distance with a double jibe.
Right, coming downwind into the leeward marks, just doing a traditional drop. I've got an option here for handing my kite sheet to the helmsman or just coming in with it. Here's coming in with it. Take it in to my thumb, slide my hand down so it hasn't eased out. Can put my foot on it, and then I'm straight into knocking the kite hallid out the cleat, and then full speed on the downhaul, flat out, big armfuls. Kites in, tiny kite sheets, get them out the water, really important. Get them forward and clear, collect my jib sheet, and then wait for the round up. Clip on, as we round up, squeeze jib sheet in, climb out, and then looking for the little window, upwind where there might be a bit of a lull or what have you, the boat's settled, and then back in, kicker on, checking the sail, I'm not overdoing it. Cunning him on if I need it, just checking once again that I'm not overdoing it, I'm getting it right. And then back into my upwind trapeze system.
Let's look at the course steered coming to the leeward mark. As Peter comes in off the wire, Alistair bears away to keep the boat flat. He also brings his weight in to get a better approach to the leeward mark. As he spins the wheel, he's bringing the main sheet on, with Peter coming out onto the wire to join him on the new course. With the main and jib set and the boat settled, Peter can then reach in for a handful of kicker to get the boat set up for the rest of the beat.
Alternatively, we've chosen to go for the jibe drop. This is where I slide the hand in, front hand up, clamp it. Don't want to ease this old kite sheet out, keep it exactly tension, and then get my foot on it, and then transfer my weight across the new side slightly. Full speed on the downhaul. So once again, as soon as the kite halid pulls tight, or the kite pulls tight, release the kite halid, finish off the downhaul as best I can, and then finish off the kite sheets, tidy them, get them forward out the jib cleat, collect the jib sheet, looking for my hand on this option, and out, clipping on, adjust the jib sheet for upwind, boat settles, in, go for the kicker, the appropriate kicker for the conditions, looking at the sail while you do it, and Cunningham, back into racing upwind mode.
Here Peter goes for the jibe drop, backing the kite on the new side before going for the halyard. With a foot on the sheet, he can in reality go for the downhaul at any point. That is to say, either before, during, or as shown here, after the jibe. This time, Peter comes off the wire and goes straight for the downhaul. Starting the drop earlier means he gets the kite in the bag and can tighten the sheets before the leeward mark. As with any mark rounding, the exit's the most important part, and dropping early might be the right tactical option, especially in larger fleets. Once again, it's wade out and then come back in again to do the control lines.
Got to get above this, Peter.
Yeah, we've got a jibe round that.
Yeah.
Getting her off.
Still got the main. Just heading up here now. Just get a bit of rounding. Peter's got the main. Going into the two-sail jibe
ready.
now.
Putting the boom across.
Hard up.
Weight up.
Out on the handle.
Hooking you on.
Okay, got it.
Jib sheet's yours.
Got the jib.
Getting settled. Kicker's coming on. Cunningham's on. Get settled again. Weights, tidy kite sheet.
Starting is a hard skill to master, and it's made even more difficult with fully battened sails and narrow foil sections.
1 minute 24.
This segment demonstrates 5 manoeuvres that can be rehearsed to give you the skills to take pole position on the line. Firstly, let's take a look at holding position, paying particular attention to the use of sail trim and boat balance to maintain steerage. Holding the bow up in the breeze is essential, as this reduces forward motion. We can also get an insight into the process of acceleration, so it's worth paying particular attention to the communication in the final 10 seconds.
More
Big
jib.
lull here at the
More
moment.
jib. Got a lot of rudder to pull the bow down here.
Big gust now.
Yeah, got it.
48 seconds. 40 seconds.
Just let's get a bit up on the line a bit more.
Okay.
Coming up, weight up.
Yeah. 35. Ease back now.
Yeah.
Got you. Got you.
Lost it. Time
26.
on 20. Pass me the jib.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. 20 now.
Okay, got it.
17, 16, 15,
Right, keeping on, getting
14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8,
Go on,
7, 6, 5,
Let's go,
4,
let's go.
3,
Go.
2, 1. You're off. Going for kicker.
Nice
Kicker's
one.
on. Cunningham's on. We're off. Lowering myself. There we go.
Slipping sideways is unavoidable, and being able to double tack to windward is a great skill to have. Again, it's important to keep forward motion to a minimum, so pay attention to the use of sails to steer the boat rather than the rudder.
Round it up. Slow it down, slow it down.
Okay, main sheet's yours. 115.
Okay. Jib on a bit there. Jib on.
I got it, I got it, I got it.
Lost
Just
the
back
bow,
the
got it
jib
back.
a bit there.
Pulling the bow away
More
a bit
breeze
more.
coming
Getting
on
some
here.
Pace on.
1 minute coming up now.
Okay,
Just drift
we're
it
losing,
down.
drifting down from the pin.
Yeah. We got double tack up.
We'll be in a minute, yeah.
Ready on your call. 50 seconds now.
Okay, ease off that jib.
Okay.
Want your weight for the double tack,
Yeah,
okay?
fine.
Ready? Let's go for one.
Yeah, ready.
Seating on.
Weight out onto new side on the double tack.
Easing the main off, keeping the power out the boat. Bearing away hard again. Ready?
35
Let's
seconds.
tackle back. Stop it.
Boat length off the line. Little bit
Keeping
less.
the bow into the wind,
25 seconds.
just to keep the pace off. We're
You
really
stay on
close
the
to
main
the
for
line
the start here.
Yeah.
Half a boat length off.
Do you want to preset the kicker? Ready for this
It's already
start?
done.
Okay.
18 seconds. You're gonna have to go on something like 4 at this rate.
Right, okay.
Literally,
Keeping
quarter
the
of a
bow
boat length
really
off
in the
now.
breeze here.
Drifting a lot. 11,
Yeah.
10, 9,
clipping on.
8, 7, 6, 5. Very close to the line. 4, 3, 2. Okay,
Let's
you can
go.
accelerate now.
Coming up. Main sheet,
Got main sheet.
fast jib sheet.
Jib sheet's yours. There it is.
Got it.
Having looked at holding position, reversing is a simple progression. First, make sure the boat is stationary with the bow through head to wind. The helm can then back the mainsail with the crew keeping the boat flat to help steerage.
What do you want to do first?
We've got off on port tack, okay?
Okay.
We'll just let the boat get into reverse.
Yeah.
It's reversing now.
Fine. You're cool when you want it onto
Go.
port,
We're
okay?
just going over, we're going on to port
Okay,
now.
onto
Back
port
in the
now,
main
is
a
it?
little bit.
Okay, fine. Weight
There it
coming
is.
up.
Jib on.
Yeah, jib's
Rudder
on.
now goes the other way, pulling it hard down, get the bow down.
Okay, windward wing down.
Main out.
Bearing away.
Let's put in a tack again.
Okay,
Stop,
ready?
tacking
Yeah.
and stopping. Keep the
Jibs
bow of the
off.
boat into the breeze. Stop the boat quick.
1 minute to go.
Okay,
Boat length off the line. Just starting to reverse now slightly.
okay.
Slipping sideways. Probably
Right.
only half a boat length off the line. We've gone forward a little bit. Let's just
Okay.
instigate a reverse, shall we?
Yeah,
Just back
instigate
her
a bit
off.
of reverse. Pulling the main across to pull it round. Now backing it. Using the rudder.
Just dropping backwards a little bit now.
Okay, that's it.
Back off on starboard there.
Yeah,
Backwards a little bit more.
yeah. Keep still. Boat's still going
Yeah.
backwards at the moment.
Yeah, you're a good boat length back now. Off on starboard, yeah?
Yeah.
27
There it is.
seconds.
Bows
There you
down,
go.
careful. Don't allow it to.
Don't worry, got main out. There we go. 20 seconds. Should we swap controls? Swap ropes? You want me on it? Got it, yeah?
Got it.
15, 14, 13. You're a boat length off.
Yeah.
Looking good for the pin end. 10,
Yeah,
9, 8, 7. Let's go at it. 6, 5, 4, 3,
Ease up, mate.
2, 1. Going for kicker. Going for cano. Flat out.
Starting at the pin has some major benefits, irrespective of line bias. It gives the sailors the ability to go bow down after the gun, rather than fighting for a lane in a height mode.
Driving around, are you? Okay.
Getting your time and distance spot on is important, so keep talking to each other to ensure you're not slipping down on the pin or moving forward on the line.
Round it up.
Yeah.
Okay, ready? Coming up to it.
1 minute
Tack,
5.
let's go.
Maintenance
Okay.
yours.
We're going to come out this pin end.
Mine, yeah.
Got to make sure that we
Pressure
get below
coming
the
down
ley
in
line.
10 seconds. 55
got it.
seconds now. Breeze coming on.
Yeah. It's going to be quite tight.
It's knocking you down slightly, the breeze.
Yeah.
45 seconds.
Using the rudder a lot here to get the bow away.
3 boat lengths off. Tight
Okay.
on the lay for this port.
Yeah.
40 seconds.
40 seconds, right.
Think you're right though. 35. 33. Swap at 20, yeah?
Yeah, swap at 20.
28 seconds.
Just keeping the rudder.
27 seconds.
Using the rudder to just keep the bow away.
A little
not
bit of
allowing
jib
it
on here just to keep you pulling forward.
Yeah.
20 seconds. Let's swap.
Okay,
Jib's
got it.
yours.
Thanks.
Main's mine. A little bit of a lull, then breeze coming on.
to
In
clipping on. Getting my height ready for
15,
the
14, 13, 12.
How
Breeze
far
coming
off?
on in a second. 1 boat length off.
Ease off that, mate,
9,
ease off.
8, 7, 6. Half a boat length. 5, 4,
Ready,
3,
bow's coming down.
2,
Let's
1.
go.
Okay, good to accelerate. In for kicker. Kicker's on. Bit of Cunningham.
go. Lowering myself into racing mode.
Flat out now. Good start. 120.
The port approach is a good way of finding a space on a crowded line. The skill is being able to tack onto starboard and kill the speed before getting too far up on the line.
Right, so it's
Peter and Alistair do this by coming out high on the new tack, momentarily back in the main.
port tack approach.
Leaving it quite late.
1 minute, 3, 2,
Right, let's get over there.
1. 1 minute. Right. Just presetting the
Pace
kicker.
on, pace on. Bear away a bit more so we've got a bit more space.
Yeah. 50 seconds. Now.
Right, through this tack, just stop her,
Yeah.
okay? So we're rounding up now. Ready?
Yeah.
Go into it, throw the main out.
Okay. Stalling it now, head
Stop
to
in.
wind.
Back in the
jib
main.
slightly.
Hold it there.
33 seconds.
Okay.
Kicker's half on now. 28 seconds.
Ease that jib off.
Yeah,
Don't
got
put
it
on
off.
yet.
23 seconds. Should we swap or not? Too close to the
No,
line?
don't swap, too close.
Okay, you're half a boat length off, if that. 18, 17, 16, 15, 14,
Really having to
13,
keep the bow up here.
12,
To stop us from
11,
moving forward.
10,
Gonna have to pull the bow away
9,
late on this
8,
one.
7,
Flipping on.
6, 5, still half a boat length off. No, now
No,
bow's on
bow
there.
down,
4,
bow down, let's
3,
go.
2, 1.
Go. Take the
Got
main.
it, got it.
Jib sheet.
Jib's yours. Lowering myself. Kicker going on. Cunningham on. Flat out. Kicker's preset.
Sometimes even the best plans don't go right, and the earlier you recognise this, the better the opportunity you'll have of doing something about it. Communication will help avoid any confusion when bailing out of a start, and once on port, look to find a gap. If you have to take a few transoms, so be it, but on the plus side you'll be travelling at max speed in a clear lane, and that can't be a bad thing.
55. It's looking very tight now.
Yeah, we are. What time is it?
Struggling. 45. The call's got to be on 40, I reckon.
No, we're leaving it later.
Really?
Yeah.
You think we might?
Yeah.
Okay, 40 seconds now.
Jib on, jib on.
Got it. No way making that now. Let's
No.
bail. 35,
What time? Time.
35,
Okay,
33.
just bear away. Just get the wing down, okay?
Yeah, stay down. I've got
No.
my, on my main.
Okay,
Go
throw
for
her
it.
out. Let's go.
Round we go.
Yeah.
25 seconds.
Right, she's coming across.
Beams across. Ready when you are.
Hardening up. Let me come.
13, 12, 11, 10,
Go down out the starboard
9.
end.
There's full chat for this end now.
Right, okay.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Bit out of my time there, not good. Oh well.
Okay, we're out. We're
Right,
clean.
easing off. Good breeze here.
Weight down.
In for kicker.
And off we go. Ring the bell, son, ring the bell.
So those are the skills. Now let's watch Peter and Alistair put them to work over 3 laps of the racecourse.
Kicker.
Control lines.
Cutting him on. Slight light patch and then breeze building. Breeze on now.
Okay, we're into bow down mode. Straight away. Eyed up the first mark already.
Maybe a bit more jib, that's it. Good,
Yeah.
nice one.
Squeezing
Light
it on
patch.
now. Just coming on. There she blows.
We're going all the way to this port ley line, aren't we?
Yeah.
Big gust on there. You got the mark, have you eyeballed it?
Yeah, got it.
How far off the ley are we?
Coming up to it.
Make sure
Having a
we're
look
on
over
it.
my shoulder now.
Okay, you're
Ready?
cool.
Getting pretty close. Let's go for it.
Yep,
Let's
ready.
tack.
Got you. Looks like we're a bit over it.
Yeah, we are. Way over it.
All right, let's crack off to it.
Go below a bit with this. So we can come in at a better angle. Okay, squeezing her back on now.
Port tack approach. I'm going to ease controls before we get there. Going in now to ease controls a bit. Controls eased. I'm
Big
doing
ship.
main sheet for bear away, okay?
Yeah,
You're
I'll
going to
just-
ease the jib, aren't you?
yeah, ease the jib beforehand. Easing it now.
Okay.
Ready, let's go.
Nice one.
I'm out like this. Dip the wing, and round we go.
Main
Got
sheet's
the
only
main.
yours.
Got the main.
Okay, into the hoist.
Got the hoist, keeping it low. That's it. There she goes.
Coming out. Be wary of those bands of wind that
Yeah.
are coming down. Just gonna sort out my kite sheet block.
Ready, Peter? Coming up for a ley line.
Yeah, ready when you are.
Let's go.
Got you.
Okay, we're going to be really arced for this.
Okay, dropping and then
Main out, main out. Let's wind it up.
dropping and two sailing up.
Last minute, last minute.
Call it.
Right, go for it now. Pulling on the main a little bit now. Keeping the boat nice and low and flat till the crew's ready. Right, you ready, Peter? Push in and
Yeah,
till
ready.
away. Let's go. He brings out the jib sheet.
Got main
we'll
sheet.
swap over.
Jib sheet's yours.
Let's go.
Going for kicker. And Cunningham didn't quite manage to tidy all the kite sheets away. Main sheet's yours for a second.
Okay,
Tidying the rest of the kite sheets up.
big gust.
Nice one. You got the wimmer mark?
Yeah. Just up over this, my left-hand shoulder here.
Are we near lay?
No, wait, not quite away from the ley line yet.
Okay. Giving you some speed again when we get settled. There we
Okay.
go. Another big gust on the nose.
Yeah, got it. Coming up to the ley line any minute.
Ready when you are.
Just having a look over my shoulder now.
Ready?
You ready? Let's go, we're
Yeah.
on it.
Okay.
Lot of wind there.
That jib sheet's yours. Gust coming down any second.
got it.
Now.
Okay, going for just a straightforward bear away here.
Is
So
it?
pedal.
I thought it was jibe
Oh
or
no,
something.
we're going for a jibe set,
Yeah.
Peter. So as soon as it's windy, we'll just go for the normal two-sail jibe.
Yeah, fine.
Then the hoist laid on.
Yeah, fine.
Okay, back into the tow straps. Ease the jib, and round we go. Wait up,
Yeah,
round.
go.
Got it. I take the main. Got the main.
Call
go
it.
for the hoist. Into the tow loops. And off we go again.
Got the lure mark.
Yeah. Getting close to the ley line again.
Be nice
Ready,
to
let's
shoot sail
go.
jibe. Okay. Leave it to port, yeah, so we go drop and two sail jibe round it, all right?
Okay. Coming up. Back, back.
Yeah, I'm back. Going to drop it now.
Yeah, go for it. Still got the main. Just heading up here now. Just get a bit of rounding.
Got it.
Peter's got the main. Going into the two
Yeah,
sail
ready.
jibe now.
Putting the boom across.
Hard up,
Weight up.
out on the handle.
Hooking you on.
Okay, got it.
Jib sheet's yours.
Got the jib.
Getting settled. Kicker's coming on. Cunningham's on. Get settled again. Waits tidy kite sheets. Main sheet's now Alistair's.
Yeah, got it.
Tidying kite sheets. Got main sheet. All cool. A little bit of a lull, then breeze on.
Okay.
Breeze there. Got a ley line at all?
Yeah, close to it.
Big head of this, I think.
Okay, let's go. Jib sheet.
Nice shift this.
Yeah, just in the edge of it
Lifting
here.
all the time, yeah.
It's going to
Fall out of it.
We'll fall out of it in a bit.
Yeah.
Just crack off a little bit now.
Yeah.
Same for this Mark.
Easing Cunningham. Easing Kicker a bit. Kicker set from a
Bit of a
downwind
gust
position.
coming.
Bearway
Easing
set then.
jib. Bit more.
I'll do the bearway, then I'll hand the main
Yeah,
over.
okay. Moving back in the boat into the tow
Sliding back
strap
out.
with the helm. Ready? Throw that
Yeah.
main out, Peter.
Main's out, main's
Right,
yours.
got it.
Going in.
Keeping it well downwind, make it easy to hoist. Soon as it's
I'm on it.
right, just wind it up into it.
Keep an eye for ley line.
Okay, we're on it, let's go.
Ready.
Got it.
Weight back.
Yep. Straightforward drop, okay?
Yeah. Going early now.
Okay. Coming up on the wire, moving my weight forward.
Tightening kite sheets.
Peter,
for the
coming up,
call.
ready, let's go.
Jibs in, main's mine.
Okay.
Well, that's it. Over the last 90 minutes, we've tried to cover every aspect of sailing high-performance sailboats. Hopefully we've given you some pointers on how to improve your own sailing. Our aim was to demonstrate techniques that can be used as a blueprint from which to build your own routines. The shore drill is a great way to learn, relearn or refine, but the true test will be on the race course. But let's leave the final words up to Peter and Alistair.
How are we looking on the fleet, Peter?
Higher and faster, Donk. Higher and faster.
That's what I like to hear. Take 20 million.